very pretty.
Please don't do this.
I love you. Takes a lot of love for a person to do this.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dave. I'm joined with my co-host Brandon. We are PVD Horror, and today we are going to do a short little review of the new film from Hammer, Dr. Jekyll. If you like all things horror and want to get the best horror news, interviews, and reviews,
like, subscribe, and ring that bell to follow us and satisfy all your horror needs.
now, Brandon, you and I both got to check this out before it's released. That's coming up very soon. Um, are you a huge Hammer fan yourself? What do you think of Hammer films?
Yeah, I love them. You grow up on them. Like the big icons like Dracula, Frankenstein, and all that stuff. So, um, yeah, it's definitely cool to definitely see Hammer make a comeback. They've been going for a while, but in this film, with this film, they're gonna be celebrating with the 90th anniversary. So
Yeah.
it's been around
Yep.
for a long time.
Yep.
So a lot of people probably been like, oh, what's been going on with Hammer? They just been going on with a lot of, different things, different people buying the company and kind of trying to take it in different directions. And so with this film, we've seen, something new that they're going with, revisiting like some of the older films and reimagining them.
Yep.
So Dr. Jekyll, that's a classic. I know that was like one of your favorites.
Yep.
Um, you want to talk
Yeah.
about?
So I mean, this is like the first studio release since the newly formed studio of Hammer.
Yeah.
They're going with a classic, which I think is such a great choice for Hammer to do that, like to
Yeah.
bring it back to the golden age of horror, but do a modernized version of it. So here we have Dr. Jekyll, which, as you probably all know, is based on The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson.
Yep.
Absolutely classic story. But here we have a little bit of a modernized version. We have Eddie Izzard playing Dr. Nina Jekyll, and basically what her position is she's this pharmaceutical person in the industry, and she's rich, she's living in this mansion, um, but she's like amidst all these scandals and is kind of like withdrawing from society, so she's secluded in
Yeah.
this mansion, and she hires this guy he's an ex-con. His name's Rob. He's played by Scott Chambers. His character is kind of interesting, but we can get
Yeah.
into that in a minute. But basically, she hires him. He's basically straight out of rehab. He's trying to see his daughter, and he needs money and all that good stuff. So he's just happy to take a job. And he's basically living with her in this mansion.
Yeah.
As the story goes on, things start to look like, maybe there's some weird stuff going on with Dr. Nina Jekyll. And eventually we see that there's a lot more to Dr. Jekyll than meets the eye. And he kind of learns that, and that maybe there was a bigger plan for him other than just being this assistant that he thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
We're going to go spoiler free on this episode. But I mean, you guys can probably all make a guess as far as like the title of what some of that, mystery might be. Uh,
Yeah.
so some pretty big performances. This is definitely like a character driven story. There's a lot of dialogue. Um, it's kind of classic Hammer where it's like, I feel like that's definitely something that you would see in Hammer, but there's like this big emphasis on like atmosphere, um, the mansion itself, and the cinematography I think is beautiful in this film. Like
Yeah.
Hammer.
Definitely. And that's the thing too, like you said, definitely character driven. I think Eddie and Scott did a great job in this film. Uh Eddie right now, he's on Broadway doing what play. So, and then seeing him in this role, it was just like, okay, like the direction that they took this film in, it was just like, okay, he did like a great job. And so, just the way he was able to, roll with this character and take it to a different level. I think that a lot of fans of horror and Hammer will definitely appreciate what they bring to the table in this film.
Absolutely. The performances are super strong.
Yeah.
The film's directed by Joe Stevenson, which I thought was ironic because the original story is written by Robert Louis Stevenson, just
Yeah.
spelled a little bit different.
Yep.
And then this story was written by Dan Kelly Mulhern. Um, it's definitely a different take. I like the direction it goes.
Mhm.
And then the ending is a little bit unexpected, I guess. Takes a little bit of a twist. It's it's definitely, an interesting first film for the studio as far as like, the choices that they made in the film, and kind of doing something that I think is going to catch a lot of people's eyes. So I
Mhm.
thought that was like a pretty smart decision on Hammers to go with like such a strong title of, being Dr. Jekyll. That's going to draw an audience. Having Eddie Izzard to kind of chew up the scenery in this is definitely something that's going to catch people's eyes, and just also the approach that they're taking, modernizing this story. So overall, I think it's definitely something worth people giving a look, and then like also kind of building some excitement for what Hammer Films might have to bring us in the future.
Yeah. And then Joe made a comment. He said how he wanted to make a film that honors what was made before and it is not made today, So I
Yeah,
think that it was cool, that like I can't say anything bad about this film. I'm happy that Hammer's back. Um and it's cool because, say like my kids or anybody like that, this is their way of getting into these films, and then sometimes going back to watching them, for a
yeah,
younger audience and stuff like that. So I think it was cool. It's the right direction. I think like we said, we talked about earlier, the the company's gone in so many different ways. I think that, this is the move that's gonna get them back on the map.
yeah. I think you just brought up a great point there. Like introducing a classic story like Dr.
Mm.
Jekyll to a newer audience, bringing some modern themes in,
Yeah.
might also draw people's attention to want to check out the original works. So they think that's a great point, and hopefully that will kind of be the what ends up happening. And I'm also hoping that Hammer continues to go in this direction and give us some other classic stories with modern twists. I would love to see that, like maybe a little Hunchback, a
Yeah,
little
that'd be
Phantom of
cool.
the Opera. Yeah,
Yep.
so there's so many directions they can go with this. I really hope they continue that.
Yeah. Now you have the release date, right? So there was a little bit of when we put up a post of the trailer and everything like that, it's being marketed as just digital, so fans are
Yes.
looking for physical copies or anything like that. But for right now, all we have is the date. Do you want to throw that out there, Dave?
Yep. So we got March 11th as the release date for the film.
Hmm.
I know that that's definitely in UK, and what I've read is also US release date.
Hmm.
Where exactly you'll be able to access this, I don't know. Keep an ear out. We'll try to post when we get word of that. And also, we're gonna have the trailer on our YouTube, so make sure you guys check that out to get a good idea of like what we're discussing with this film.
Yep.
It also runs for an hour and a half, which perfect runtime.
Yeah.
So can't
And it
can't go wrong with that.
And it's a nice flowing film, so it doesn't really drag at times, you know what I mean? So I think
Yeah,
that people, the action and everything, little jump scares and everything like that is going to keep people tuned in, and keep them all happy with that runtime. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So March 11th, Dr. Jekyll. Check out Eddie Izzard and Scott Chambers just, doing the thing. And yeah, keep an ear out and an eye out for more Hammer films coming your way. Hopefully that they start pushing some more out soon so we have more to look forward to.
yeah.
Um, so that's our review or little overview of Dr. Jekyll. We'll see you next week. Have a good night, everyone.